Hey there, good morning, good morning. This is Griffin Gaming RPG, and today we are continuing with my series on Star Citizen 101. And today we're taking a ship tour. We've been touring various areas in the game and the modules. We've been to the R-Corp, we've been to Kovalek Station. The other day we went to the asteroid belt in Yela. But today we're going to take a tour of one of the ships that we have, which is the Aegis Retaliator. I know from this angle it probably looks like a really weird ship, but this is actually a bomber, and it actually can be used as a multi-purpose ship where it can be changed out for everything from carrying troops to carrying cargo, but this configuration is set up for a bomber. So what we're going to do is take a little look on the external side of the ship, see what it's like, and then after that we're going to go inside and take a look at it. So why don't we go ahead and get started. Just to tell you a little bit about this particular ship is manufactured by the company Aegis, which is spelled A-E-G-I-S. Again, this is what they call a stealth bomber. It is not necessarily a stealth ship, but it is stealthy, is what the people at CIG basically will say about it, and it's basically a very sleek spacecraft. It's about 71 meters in length, and it has a crew complement of, even though they say 6, it really comes out to 7. And when we get inside, hopefully I'll be able to show you why it's 7, and that might be significant when it comes time to abandon ship, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Anyway, you can see this ship has a VTOL configuration, which is a vertical takeoff and landing. You can see that there are 2 engines here in the front. There are 2 on the port and 2 on the starboard, a total of 6. So the aircraft is designed to lift off vertically, and then the engines rotate accordingly whenever you're ready to move forward. Let's see, they're going to move around here a little bit. You can see the struts on the aircraft. These all go up on departure automatically. And you can see this is a really, really cool design here. There's intake inlets. Again, the large VTOL engines. There's a little bit of lighting here. And there's a coloring here for the ship being in black and red with the number 42, which is symbolic of the game Squadron 42. If you don't know very much about Star Citizen, there is a actual single-person game that's going to be released, hopefully later this year, called Squadron 42, which incorporates many of the spacecraft that you're able to get when playing Star Citizen. And evidently, what they've been doing is releasing the ships that will definitely be involved in Squadron 42 first, and the Aegis Retaliator is one of those ships, so hence the number 42 underneath the wing there. We're going to continue around the back of the ship, and if you look toward the rear here, you can see that there is a gun turret right here at the back of the ship, lower bottom, which is actually inverted 180 degrees. We'll see that when we go inside the spacecraft. But this is a very, very large ship, as you can see. Very large, a lot of detail here. And it's amazing, one of the things that most of us who've been following Star Citizen for some time now is that we've been amazed at the amount of detail that they have placed inside of these various spacecraft and virtual ships. Normally this level of detail, as you can see, is not normally in a game, but there's tremendous detail here, even where you can read things such as the words over there, caution spring loaded. Most times all you'd see is a little bit of scribbling, and that would be about it, but when you get up close you can actually see that there are words there. Cabling, things of that nature. Again, lots and lots of detail. Even the weathering of the ship, as you can see, there are marks, there are nicks, there are all types of things here on the ship. Alright, so we're going to try and go inside now. We've done a full 360 of the ship, so you can see what it looks like. There's another turret there in the front, just like the one in the rear, which is inverted. So we're going to go on board. Once again, thanks for joining me this morning. I know it's bright and early, 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. Alright, here we go. So, the engine that's being used for this is actually a modified version of the Cry engine, and so on occasion you'll see this little blue U's pop up. If you're not familiar with it, that's just our way of accessing or making things operate. We type the letter F to make that happen. And we're going to get on this little platform here, and we're going to hit F again. And that's going to close up, and it's going to take us inside. Okay, we are now inside the Retaliator. As you can see, there is a second elevator on this side and the one we just came up in. This is a hatch that we saw from downstairs just a second ago, which does open and close. At least it's supposed to close. Let's see, which way are we going to go? We are going to go, let's go this way first. We're going to go toward the rear of the ship first, if I'm not mistaken. That's the way I'm going. One of the cool things about this game with Star Citizen is going to be the fact that we have an option to be multi-crew, which means that you're going to be able to have multiple people on a ship, and those people will all have various duties and responsibilities on board. Most games that we play nowadays, you know, you're the pilot, you're the guy who's flying it around, and you pretty much remain in that seat. You don't do very much. In this game, you're actually able to move around as a crew while the ship is in motion. While someone is flying it, people can be moving about, they can be repairing things, they can be operating guns or operating equipment such as shields or bombs or power management. And so that's one of the great things about this game. Now, because we're on the version of the ship that's in the hangar, there's a little less detail here versus if I were to go into the live part of the game. But there's enough detail here that you can get an idea of how the game works. So let's continue on. And you can see there's the door we just came in. And there are panels here on the left. These panels are panels that will be accessible to do repairs to the ship if there's damage. There's another door here on the right. And when we go into this area, we can see into the rear bomb area. You can see there are two bombs that are attached there and the hatch below. And here is a control panel for management. Now, we have yet to see exactly what this is for. I know that you're able to do some power and shield management from this location, but whether or not this will be a place where like an engineer operates from, or maybe the bombardier who's controlling when to release the bombs, that may be the case. So we're going to hit F just to open this up, and you can see there's a control panel here. It's not active on this version, but if you go into the live version of the game, it is partially active. It's not completely there. Again, just as a reminder, Star Citizen is an alpha. We haven't even reached a beta stage on it, so it's still in development, and most of the people who are playing it are people who have decided to back the game, to sponsor the game, and so they pay a certain amount of money in support of the game's development, and in return you basically get these ships, and depending on the price of your contribution, that determines what type of ship you get. Some people have gone to the website and they've seen that ships, they'll see a price of $150 or $300, and they'll say, what, I have to pay $300 to play the game? No, that's not the case. With Star Citizen, you can get a basic package that allows you to play the game for $45. It gives you a ship and a hangar, and that's all you have to pay. You don't have to pay anything else. Any other ships that you want to get in-game, you can earn through doing various missions and activities in the game. But then there are those who have decided to say, hey, I want to support this development in a big way, so I'm going to put in $50, $100, $500, even $1,000. Some people have paid as much as $30,000 in support of the game, and as a return they get a premium. Kind of like, you know, when you donate to a public public TV station and they say, oh, we'll give you these CDs for contributing. So that's kind of how it works. So we're just going down this one corridor. On this side there is a turret, a wing turret. We're going to bring this chair down so you can see what it looks like. And as you can see, we've brought up. We're on the starboard side of the ship. You can see the VTOL engines there right in front, and these screens illuminate Once the ship is fired up, when the ship is powered up, you'll see these screens come up. There'll be a targeting computer, there'll be a holographic computer, and these computer monitors are programmable. You can put on whatever screen you want, whatever works for you. So this is the first of the turrets that we've entered in on this ship. And remember earlier I told you that they stated that this is a 6-crew ship. So you keep count with me as we go through here, and we'll see if this is really a 6-crew ship. So, alright, so that's our first turret. That's our starboard one. We're going to go back out here in the hall and continue toward the back of the ship. And you can see there are more repair panels back here. There's also a panel here on one of the demonstrations with CIG. That's Cloud Imperium Games, by the way. They actually showed this panel in action, and there's one on each side of the ship. One of them controlled gravity on the ship. The other one controlled life support on the ship. They're not active right now, but eventually they will be. So now we're in the rear of the ship, and if you remember when we were outside, I showed you that there was a turret that was underneath the ship in the rear. So we're going to activate that one now. Uh-oh, see, we might have a glitch here. Let's see. Can't tell. Well, we're doing the inversion, 180 degrees. Okay, it did do it. Okay, so now you can see we are in the turret and we are upside down. This particular turret does a 180 degree flip, and so it is a bit disorienting. You have to get used to firing this way, but there are turrets on both the top and bottom. If you look straight down the middle there, you can see where the front turret is between the two legs there in the front of the ship. So let's see if this is going to allow us to exit properly. It seemed like the graphics were glitching a little bit here, but we'll see. It might do the right thing. Let's see. Nope, it didn't. I kicked us out. Alright, so we're going to go back in. And again, remember that the game, as I mentioned earlier, is an alpha, so there are still bugs and glitches here and there. But it's coming along. It is coming along. I've been following Star Citizen now for just about two and a half years, and I've seen tremendous progress in it. So let's go back the way we came. We came down this corridor. We went past this turret. We went to the rear of the ship, and we went into this area here where the turret was. So we're going to cross over to the port side of the ship. Again, there's that other access panel that I told you about, along with these panels here. And we're going to go down the corridor here. Once again, there is another turret on this side. This is on the port side of the ship. Now, I'm not going to go in here because you already saw what the starboard turret looked like, but just keep account with me again. That's the second turret that we've seen on the ship. Again, this is the other side where you can see the torpedoes. There are two at the rear of the ship here. Clear sky. More access panels. The engineering room we saw earlier. And now we're about midship again. So let's go to this side of the ship. There's another door. This leads to a private area for using the bathroom. There are some lockers here, it seems like, or some looks like lockers. I think those are lockers. And there's a toilet here, area to wash, and an area to take a shower. Now you might be asking, are you really going to take a shower in this game? Well, actually, I read where it says that you will have to actually do certain things like eat and do things like take a shower, because it will have an impact on when you meet with other characters, non-player characters, NPCs in the game. I guess maybe if you're offensive and you got a lot of bad body odor, you don't get a good deal out of them. I don't know, but a lot of the ships have incorporated showers and bathrooms in them, so they're here. We'll see how much they're integrated into the game. They may be just cosmetic, but it actually would be kind of cool to think that you have to do some of that stuff. This room here leads into the front bomb area, and in here there are 4 bombs. You can see there are 2 over there, one above and one below, and then 2 more over here. So the ship actually carries a complement of 6 of these torpedoes, and from my understanding they are extremely powerful. Some people call the Aegis Retaliator the capital ship destroyer. And I guess the fact is that there's enough firepower on here to do substantial damage on a capital ship. Whether that's true or not, it's to be seen, but we will see. All right, so we're going to go toward the front of the ship, the fore of the ship, and again, there's a window that runs along here where you can see the length of that torpedo. And again, you can see there's a lot of detail. Look at the floor there. A lot of detail here. And amazingly, the game runs smooth. There's screens up here above. And I hate to admit it, but even with this detail that you're seeing right now, I am running the game in low resolution. Believe it or not, there's a low, a medium, a high, and a very high, and this is actually in low resolution. Okay, so we just came in through this door here, and we are toward the front of the ship, and we are going to go through this door here, which leads into another more private area, and I'm starting to think that this is probably the captain's area, just because it has a private bed here. And I'll show you the crew area in just a few seconds, but there's a computer terminal here, and again, it just seems to be like a area just for a single person, so I would think that this is probably going to be the captain's area on the ship. Like a ready room, I guess you could say, for those of you Star Trek fans out there. Now, you'll also notice that you see that this is a Deck A on the door. That's because there is actually an upper deck on the Retaliator. So we are going to go there now. So let's make our way up. Alright, so we are now on the upper deck on the Retaliator, and we're going to take a few steps forward. There is another gun turret here, but we're going to see that in a couple seconds. This area here is kind of a storage area, and these are gun racks, from my understanding, that are on both sides of the ship. One of the other things about Star Citizen is that people will be able to do piracy, and you will have people who will try to board a ship to take over it, versus just destroying it. If they see a ship that they think is valuable, a ship that they want, you may have someone who may side up next to you and proceed to board your ship. And of course, those people on that ship will have to defend that ship, so you'll end up having firefights, things of that nature on the ship. So you have to keep your rifles and guns nearby and ready. Now, this area back here is the crew area, but when I say crew area, it's really the escape area for the ship. There are 6 escape pods here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so when it's time to abandon ship and get out, you basically open one of these up and you scoot in, and these eject out the side of the ship. There's actually a video on YouTube that shows how the escape process works on the ship. They're literally jettisoned out, and they have a beacon, I guess a distress beacon, and people can come and pick you up, hopefully if you survive, if the enemy doesn't kill you anyway. But anyway, that's what these are. These are life pods. You can see there's oxygen tanks inside there. It doesn't stay open very long right now, but you basically climb on in there, and yeah, you get ejected out of the ship. I'm sure there's a little countdown or something that goes along with that. Alright, so we're going to go forward again, past the area where the weapons racks are, and into this area here, where once again we have another gun turret. Now, the ones we saw previously were over the starboard and port wings, and we saw one in the lower part of the ship. This is another one, and this is at the front, at the top of the ship. Pretty much the same thing. Monitors are customizable. Okay, and we're going to go down. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to type them, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them for you. I'm not an authority on it, but hopefully I'll be able to give you an answer if you got a question about Star Citizen. Okay, so we're going to go back down, and you can see once again a lot of detail here, a lot of detail. A window view there, and we're just going to make our way down. We're going to try to make our way down. Am I pushing the right button? There we go. Alrighty. Okay, so now we're toward the front of the ship, and yes, believe it or not, there is another gun turret. This is the one that we saw from the back, which goes toward the front of the ship, but underneath. and we saw the one in the rear. I'm going to try it. Hopefully it won't glitch. I don't think it will this time. Let's see, we get in the chair, and you'll see it do the 180 and then down. Okay, so there we are again. That upside down orientation, getting used to that, being able to be upside down. Well, in space there's no up or down, right? So I guess it doesn't make too much of a difference which way you're oriented. Alright, we're going to go back up. 180 again, and out of our seat. Okay. So then, lastly, is the pilot's area, which is here in the front. And we're going to try and get in that seat there. Let's see if I can find my right spot for my U's here. Let's see, where are you? There we go. Alright. So our chair slides back, then it moves forward, and we're put in place here.
Aegis Combat Assist activated. Systems green.
Okay. So we basically get the voice in here, the computer on the ship letting us know that the ship is active. Again, because we're in the hangar, we're not seeing the ship powered up. If we were in the live scenario of the universe, we'd see these screens light up and the monitors would light up. We'd hear the engines turn on. We'd hear if you're on a ship that has ladders or doors open, you'd hear them closing as the ship is preparing to take off. Again, if you look around in the cockpit, there's a lot of detail here. Above us, we have several monitors and screens that all do work. You may have one, for example, that might be showing you the status of your shields. You may have another screen that is showing you the status of power on your ship. And then you may have another one that's showing you the status of weapons on your ship. You may have something for targeting. You may have something else in relation to some other type of power allocation. But all these screens are functional on the ship, which says that the person who's piloting the ship is going to have a lot to keep their eye on and monitor, which is one of the reasons why you have to have a multi-crew. It's going to be tough enough trying to just fly the ship, let alone worrying about deploying torpedoes, targeting, if there are repairs needed on the ship. If certain systems are damaged, that information would flash up here, and the person who's piloting the ship would let the other crew members know. They in turn would respond to those areas by replacing modules to try to repair the ship and save it. And of course, if you get into a situation where the ship becomes so damaged that there becomes, and we're not really sure how they're going to work this out, but there's going to be some system that lets us know that the ship is literally going to explode. And so you have a certain amount of time. Again, we don't know what that time frame will be. Hopefully you'll have a certain amount of time where you can get to the escape pods and exit. So again, remember earlier I told you to count with me in relation to how many crew are on the ship. Well, let's do the math. We've got one over the port wing and a turret, one over the starboard wing, that's 2. We have one underneath the back of the ship in the rear, that's 3. And then we mentioned that we have one in the front turret above and one in the front turret below. So that's 5 people. Then there was one other position, and that was the position of the person that was working in engineering. Now that would make 6 people, not including the pilot. There are 6 ejection pods, 6 people actively working, and now you've got a pilot, which makes number 7. So one of my questions has always been, is this a scenario where the captain has to go down with the ship, or maybe it's every man for himself? Somebody's not going to make it off the ship, basically. But doesn't mean you have to take 7 people. Of course, you can take 6, and maybe one of those turret people will operate that panel that we saw in the middle of the ship as an engineer as well. But of course it would be great to have a full complement of people where people could remain focused on whatever duty they have and not necessarily have to switch up if they didn't have to, especially in the case of an emergency. So anyway, this is the Aegis Retaliator. This ship is, again, as I mentioned before, it's customizable. Even though the configuration I have it in is for a bomber, it can be used for carrying equipment. And it also could be used as a troop transport. Let's see, what else? Is there anything else about the ship? Any questions you guys have for me? If you do, once again, feel free to ask. I'm going to use this hatch here to abandon the ship very quickly. instead of waiting on one of those elevators to come down. But again, this is it. Very large, 71 meters in length. Crew complement of 6, maybe 7, depending on how you want to look at it. The Aegis Bomber, stealth bomber. There it is. So again, thanks for hanging out with me. If you haven't already, feel free to follow me on Twitter at Griffin Gaming RPG, and of course I would love to have you as a follower here on my Twitch channel. I really appreciate you stopping by. I hope you learned something about Star Citizen and about the Retaliator. If you didn't know it already, if you're already into the game, hey, I know you're just as excited as I am about the updates that will be coming out within the next couple weeks. But again, I appreciate the time you spent with me this morning, and we'll definitely do more of these ship tours. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do next, but there'll be one coming. So anyway, hope you have a great day, and again, thanks for stopping by. Take care.